Hello, Namaskar and Adab to all my friends from your friend astrologer and guide Irfan, once more with you from your very own channel Astro Assurance. In the conjunctions that in the horoscope that we see, number of permutations and combinations are possible, and they give rise to different assertions, different meanings, different possibilities as well. And in that light, I had also put a poll question yesterday about which conjunctions, and I was allowed only 5 options, so I had given 5 different combinations. Which among these the viewers felt and who wanted to respond was the most auspicious or lucky or good luck bringing or beneficial conjunction amongst the 5. In this I had brought different combinations, talked about the 5th lord and the 1st lord together, the 5th and the 9th lord together, the 9th and the 11th lord together, the 9th and the 2nd lord together, and so on. Now let me tell you that any conjunctions between the Kendra houses and the Kendra or the trine house or the 2 trine houses is a great conjunction, is a good conjunction. Somebody mentioned that a conjunction between a trine house and a Kendra house is good. Yes, obviously a trine house and a Kendra house coming together is a good conjunction. It is a Raj Yoga, though not be the case in every situation. But even the conjunctions between the trine houses, if you take the Lagna as a Kendra house and a trine house as well, because that's how it should be taken, then the conjunction between the 5th and the 1st lord, or the 9th and the 1st lord, and the 5th and the 9th lords can also be seen as a Raj Yoga, and Parashar has also mentioned this. And Parashar has associated these kind of yogas to wealth. Now the wealth that we are talking about could be wealth from not only the material wealth, but it could also be wealth of knowledge, wealth of information, wealth of adulation, wealth of fame. So different kinds of wealth can come to you because of the association, and we need to check which planet is getting involved. So if Jupiter is getting strongly involved with Sun, it could not be so much a wealth of money, but it could be wealth of power, authority, influence, ability to be able to influence others as a leader, as a teacher, as a guru, for example. So these things have to be seen. So conjunctions between a Kendra and a trine house stand out, but the conjunction between the trine houses themselves can also be great. And in this light, any conjunction between a Kendra house and a trine house, where the 4th house and the 5th house together, 4th and the 9th house together, the 4th and the Lagna together, or the Kendra houses themselves, 4th and the 10th, 4th and the 1st, 7th and the 1st, all are good conjunctions, all bring good Raj Yogas, and they should be seen in different light, different permutations, and through that you should be able to see what is the gain that that particular conjunction is giving us. So today I am going to talk about one such conjunction, the conjunction of the 5th house lord with different house lords, and how the 5th lord in conjunction with different planets, especially when the house lords, can give you great results. Now before I go ahead, please, if you have not subscribed to my channel and if you have not liked this video yet, please do that, because then YouTube also promotes these videos further and more people can also be benefited through these videos, and that is a good opportunity for you to get some good positive karma as well. So let's jump right into it, starting with the 5th lord conjunctions with the different other house lords. Now when the 5th house lord gets conjunct with the 6th house lord, so what are you getting here? You are getting service, competition, inimical forces, working under somebody, working for somebody, day-to-day activities, debts, loans, sicknesses, all coming together with the 5th house of upheavals to career, finance, speculative investments, children, media, public performances, what appeals to you, what you like to do, all coming together. So this is a strong placement where the 6th house being the second house to the 5th house, which means gains of the 5th house will come how you serve. So if you have a mindset of serving, if you have a mindset of working hard, if you have a mindset of doing more for others, expecting less, then this can bring you gains. When you do that stronger, then the upheavals which the 5th house represents, being 8th to the 10th house, will be lesser in your career. If you don't have a mindset of service, but you have a mindset of gains, which the 5th house will bring in, then obviously the 5th house being the 12th to the 6th house, loss in service, loss of jobs, changes and upheavals in job may also be brought about. So having a very strong service mindset where you want to do more for others will keep the stability in your job, will keep the stability at work, and also help you to be able to tide over competition. If you don't do that, then competition will tide over you. You will not be able to compete at work. You will not be able to overshadow others. In fact, you will allow the inimical forces to overshadow you. So if you have a strong service mindset, working for people, and through then rising through the ranks, because the fifth house has Leo energies, then the leadership will come to you, gains will come to you, and a more stable career will come to you. This is also placement that you need to be very careful in your relationship, especially a romantic relationship, because especially if the fifth and the sixth house are coming together, romance also coming with inimical forces. So sometimes the romance over a period of time may sour, where you may start off in a beautiful relationship, slowly the relationship sours, and then you can't see eye to eye and the relationship breaks. So your relations may go the wrong path. You will find that a lot of friends may end up becoming not so friendly to you anymore. You may lose your relationship also. So this is a tricky placement. However, if dealt right, especially with a service mindset, even in a relationship, that I need to do more in the relationship and expect less, then you will find that the gains of the fifth house will come to you, stability in your service will come to you, speculative investments will also do well for you. Just be careful about speculative investments, especially this is also placement where you may get into speculative investments through loans, through debts, and then it will be difficult for you to get out of your debts if you are not able to handle your speculative investments wisely, especially focusing on not taking too many risks, and be careful where you sign on the dotted line. Now where this conjunction occurs will bring in its own flavors also. Fifth and the sixth house getting together in the second house, then gains from service, strong livelihood coming from service, working under somebody also, especially what you like to do, what you love to do. So if you want to serve in the direction of what you like to do, what you love to do, then more gains will come to you, especially if you have a service mindset, and then you have a good chance of overshadowing everybody and doing much better in life. Now when the fifth house and the seventh house lords come together, what is the fifth house about? Fifth house is the house of speculative investment, romantic relations, children. It is the house of public performances. It is also the house of upheavals to careers, changes to careers as well. Seventh house is the house of relationship, teamwork, your business orientation, how you keep your balance in life, in relationships, your married life, losses of the eighth house, harmony, connections with others, all coming together. So now when the fifth and the seventh house lords are conjunct, this is the strong placement where long stable relationship coming through your romantic liaison. But after some upheavals, because the fifth house is the 10th house to the 8th house, and the 7th house is the 3rd to the 5th house, which means that without upheavals and effort that you put into your relationship, the stable relationship may not come in. Which means that in a relationship you will have to put in an effort to understand the person, to keep the balance which the 7th house represents, taking a keen interest in the affairs of the other person. Affair doesn't mean the romantic affairs of the person, but what the person likes to do, what the person wants to do, what the person's general approach to life is, taking a keen interest in their matters, and through that being able to then solidify the relationship. This is also a good placement or a good conjunction to make more gains in speculative investment through business, but through partnership. This is not a placement of going it alone. This is more of a placement of working with people, working in a team effort, and then making gains. The stronger bond that you share in a partnership, in a team environment, the better you will gain. This is also a coming together of energies where working on a day-to-day basis in a strong team effort will bring you more gains. You may also be thrust into the limelight every now and then, where you will have to represent the team, because the 5th house is the house of public performances. So you will have to stand up for your team. You will have to work for the team. You will have to work for the partnership. Then you will find gains will come to you, strong gains come to you over a period of time. Also doing something in what you like to do, what you love to do, as a business orientation in a partnership is also this placement. So if you are able to keep the balance between what is required of you, what you can do for others, especially in a partnership, in a relationship, you can keep the balance between what you need from what a team needs, what is required at work, then too this will give you good stable relations, good stable connections, good stable results over a period of time. Now where this conjunction occurs obviously will bring in its own flavor. So see where, if you have this conjunction, see where it is occurring, in which house it is occurring. Based on that, be able to delve deeper and understand this more intricately. Now if the 5th house and the 8th house lords are conjunct in any house in the horoscope, then you're bringing upheavals, suddenness, making wealth out of other people's investments or other people's money, taxations, audits, insurances, children, romance, strong connections, possibility of making gains from the virtual world, mysticism, mysteriousness, all coming together. So here the 5th house and the 8th house, remember, are in Kendra to each other. The 8th house is the 4th house from the 5th house, and the 5th house is the 10th house from the 8th house. So a career getting connected to any areas of either the 5th or the 8th house is the strong possibilities, where you get into IT or government projects or anything related to the government, or to strong analytical approach in your work, or there is a certain suddenness factor or an emergency factor in your work, or taxation, or working with other people's money, finance, audits, tax, insurances, all these can become a possibility. And arts becomes a very strong possibility. I have seen a lot of people with 5th and the 8th house together can also be very good actors, can also be in the moving media, especially movies or fictional writings, or any artistic performance which is involve the virtual world rather than the real world. Then to have seen this combination works well, especially if it gets connected to the 11th house, gets connected to the 2nd house, gets connected to the 3rd house of communication, gets connected to the Lagna. So this is where this conjunction is occurring. You will also find huge gains coming in. However, this can be tricky placement because the 8th house is the house of upheavals, suddenness. 5th house is the 8th house to the 10th house. So 2 8 energies are coming together. So such a person with 5th and 8th house conjunctions sometimes has to go through many ups and downs in life, various phases in their job, in various roles they play before they find settlement. And this comes only when you understand the deeper meaning of life better after facing those sudden issues and challenges. But this is also placement where you find meaning in what you are here to do in life through the upheaval that you face, and through that you make your power and influence which the 5th house represents. So if you have this conjunction, see where it is getting conjunct in, because those flavors will also come in, those combinations will also come in, those permutations will also come in. If the 5th and the 8th house get together strongly in the 10th house, then strongly your career may be connected to more the matters of the 8th house and then to the 5th house also. If they get connected to the 3rd house, very very strong placement for artistic performances, doing well on the social media, on YouTube or Instagram, in movies, as a celebrity, as an artist also, and also as a fictional writer as well. So find where this conjunction is occurring, if this conjunction is occurring in your horoscope, and make the best use through better and more intricate understanding of this conjunction. If the 5th house lord and the 9th house lords are conjunct, this is one of the strongest conjunctions which can happen in astrology in your horoscope. The 5th house is a strong house of gains, the 9th house is the strongest house of gains, and the 5th and the 9th house, the 5th is your power, your influence, and so a lot of freedom is also given by the zodiac to you, because this is the house of what you like to do, what you love to do, and a house of gains, and a house of speculative actions. The 9th house is a strong house of gains, but also the house of higher learning, what experiences you face in life, and through those experiences what you learn, higher education as well. So if you are somebody who wants to chase your career in the light of where your qualifications lie, higher qualifications you have, the more higher qualifications you have, the more you add to that kitty, you will do better and better, because the 5th house is also the house of education, whereas the 9th house is the house of higher education and higher learning through experiences. However, the 5th house is the 8th house to the 10th house, which means there may be upheavals in your career also every now and then. There may be changes in your careers also. But that higher learning, those experiences will bring you more gains, because that change will only elevate you higher. That experience will only elevate you higher. In fact, the upheavals may bring about a new opportunity, because of which the zodiac brings in that upheaval, so that you are ready to go through the transformation, ready to go through the change, so that you are ready for higher gains. So one of the strongest Raj Yogas that you can have, with the 5th house of gains and the 9th house of gains is coming together. This is where you can also do something that you love to do with people across cultures, in the light of spirituality, in the spiritual medium also, or connected to higher education, or connected to travel, or connected to education, higher education, or connected to even spirituality. So a number of options are given when this conjunction comes together. And because the 5th house is the house of Sanchita Karma, the 9th house of Prarabdha Karma, this is a strong placement that if your actions are ethical, moral, your faith and belief, which the 9th house represents, are not into speculations, which the 5th house represents, but you are steadfast in your career, you are steadfast in your commitment, in your ethics, in your morality, then a good chance of completely wiping out your Sanchita Karma and the Prarabdha Karma baggage that you're carrying, the negative baggage, karmic baggage that you're carrying, and after overcoming that, having strong gains in spirituality, in your faith and belief system, and then bringing the biggest gains to the Lagna, because the Lagna is the 9th house from the 5th house and the 5th house from the 9th house. So if you have this conjunction in, say, any house, find out more intricately and understand where this conjunction is occurring, which house it is occurring more intricately, and then make the best gains out of this house conjunction, because this is one of the best opportunities of gains both here in this world and the neither given to you by the zodiac. Now when the 5th house and the 10th house lords come together, they are conjunct together. 5th house is the house of speculative actions, speculative gains, children, romance, media performances, interests, what you like to do, what you love to do, upheavals to career as well. But the 10th house is the house of your karma, the work area, and strongly connected to work also. The 5th and the 10th house, one trine house and one kendra house coming together, very strong Raj Yoga also. This is the strong chance that the zodiac has given to you to get a lot of power, influence at work, because the 5th house is also the house of your power and what you like to do, what your interests are. So this is also a strong opportunity given by the zodiac, or to get into a career, into something what you like to do, what appeals to you, what your heart relates to, what your emotions relate to. And this is also placement that if you do that, then you may make higher gains. You will have a strong reputation of somebody who is a strong asset to the organization, strong expert in your line of work, and that reputation will also help you, will also propel you. However, the 5th house being the 8th house to the 10th house, which means there may be at least 2 or 3 important changes, unique changes, transformative changes in your career, in your work area, which will in turn help you propel your career further, will also help you elevate yourself further. However, this is also placement where you need to have a very strong relations with your superiors, with the authority figures at work to be able to do well. In some way, you may also find your romance getting connected in some way or the other, linked to your work area. Either you meet your romantic liaison at work, or at least one of your romantic liaison at work, or there may be opportunities to get into a romantic relationship at work, or you will find that you love your work, you absolutely adore what you do, and there is very little time for you to do anything else. Sometimes the children may also follow in your footsteps when the 5th and the 10th house lords are conjunct. So a very strong Raj Yoga bringing placement where career gains are coming together. If you have this placement, then creativity, lots of creativity, but with opportunities of change and transformation is also what the zodiac is giving to you. Fathom where this conjunction is occurring, in which house it is occurring, get a bit deeper understanding of the placement, and get the best, one of the best gains that the zodiac can give you when the 5th and the 10th house lords are conjunct together. Now when the 5th and the 11th house lords are conjunct together, 11th house is also the strong house of gains, but an upachaya house. 5th house is the house of upheaval also to your career, because it is the 8th house to the 10th house. So your gains in life come after upheavals, after transformation, after going through ups and downs. So over a period of time with strong commitment, dedication, hard work, and then getting higher gains in your career, in social life, through your social connection is this placement. Now because the 5th and the 11th houses are opposite to each other, there are a lot of complementary forces also working, opposite forces also working, which means you will also find there are a lot of people specially connected to work who may not be the best of friends. They may also be the cause of upheavals to your career, because the 5th is the 8th house to the 10th house. So be careful of who you think are your friends, who you hang around with, who you are sharing the grapevine with, because the 11th house is also the house of large organizations. So the upheavals in your large organizations or your job in your large organization may come through because you are not able to understand the difference between a well-wisher and a friend, or somebody who may be a competitor. So find out your social connections well, especially connected to work, and be more tactical and be a little diplomatic at work, because then this will take you to places. Have good relations with your supervisors also, but have some strong cause that you work for. The 5th house is the house of power, influence, what you like to do, what you love to do. 11th is the house of social causes, large causes, even at a world level. So find something which your heart truly relates to. Find an organization that works in a cause which your heart relates to, and work for that cause. Then you will find that the zodiac will give you a lot of success in the long run. This is also a placement where the romantic liaison may come from a friend circle. You meet somebody as a friend or through friends, and in the long run it develops into a romantic liaison, and also maybe connects you to a long-term social commitment also, stable relationship also. However, this can also bring you a lot of gains from your social connects, how you work with them, in what manner you work with them. So this is a strong possibility also of you doing business, because the 5th house is the house of speculative investments, 11th house is the house of business connections, your social connections. So find out where this conjunction is occurring, in which house it is occurring, especially if it's occurring in the 2nd house, the 3rd house, the 5th house itself, or the 7th house. This is one of the best placements for making gains in a partnership in the business environment, in doing something of your own. So understand this conjunction better to be able to make the best gains over a period of time with this conjunction. Now when the 5th house and the 12th house lords get together, what is the 12th house? 12th house is the house of losses, extremes, excesses, spirituality, solitude, working alone, going to foreign lands, working with foreign clients, working with foreign consultants, working in MNCs. So now the 5th house of what you like to do, what you love to do, is coming together with the 12th house energies. So maybe you're a person who likes to work more on your own. You like your solitude. Even in a team environment, you like to have some time of your own. You like to work first alone and then maybe involve it with the team's project, or with your department's agenda, or what the department's objective is. You don't like to be surrounded by people all the time who are breathing down your neck, and you have to deal with people every now and then. This is a placement where you like your own space and how you're allowed to work. So you like to have a lot of freedom to be able to do your job better. You can't have a micromanagement person who's sitting on your head telling you every bit what to do. This is not something which you like. And sometimes usually these people may, that's why, either work alone in a solitary manner, or in a project which allows them or gives them that freedom, or they may even think of going and working in foreign lands or with foreign clients also. So many times these people like to do something of their own, find some more meaning in life, even spiritual meaning in life. They don't like to be bogged down, and hence, because the 5th house is the 8th house to the 10th house, the 12th house is the house of losses, which means initial changes in their career leads to some losses, leads to losses of designation, leads to losses in your role, leads to losses of even good brands that you're working for. And only after going through these 2 or 3 upheavals, then you find gains, because the 12th house is the 8th house to the 5th house. So initial upheavals, transformation, changes, you will have to go through it before making it big. And to go abroad also, many times there are obstructions, initial obstructions, because the 12th house is the 8th house to the 5th house. And at your workplace also, you may find hidden enemies, those people who are inimical to you but you don't know, which the 12th house represents, and those hidden forces may then act behind your back, eventually leading you to even losing your job, because again the 5th house is the 8th to the 10th house of career. So if these 2 house lords get conjunct, great probability of doing very well in large organizations, in a project where you're sitting alone or working it alone, or doing something of your own, working with MNC companies or in foreign land, but also being more careful of who you're working, who you're trusting, and playing your cards well and not trying to rock the boat too much. Now, where this conjunction of the 5th and the 12th house is occurring, that will bring in its own flavor. This is one of the best placements for working abroad if this conjunction occurs in the 2nd house of earning, of livelihood. It can be a great placement to do something in the line of spirituality if it gets into the 9th house, or in the realm of communication on the social media if it gets into the 3rd house. So wherever this conjunction occurs, if you have the 5th and the 12th house lords conjunct, understand this conjunction better, where it is placed, understand it intricately, so that you avoid the losses which the 12th and the upheavals which the 5th house represent, and be able to make gains over a period of time with a lot of patience, with a lot of spiritual approach to work, with a lot of dedication and commitment to doing more for others, and through that being able to gain more in the current realm as well as in the nether. So friends, now that we have talked about the 5th house lords conjunctions with different house lords, find out if at all this conjunction is occurring in your horoscope, understand it better, because this is a good placement of making more gains, getting a lot of power and authority, with upheavals, with changes surely, but surely one of the strong placements of getting gains if you are able to understand the synergy of the 5th house lord and the other house lord better. So friends, like this video, share this video, and if you're looking for a personal consultation from me, please reach out to me at the link given below. Till some other time with some other video, this is the friend astrologer and guide Irfan signing off. Ciao.